It's funny because nobody grows up saying, I want to be an activist. They see something they love, something they really care about, destroyed in front of their eyes. And they decide to take action, to fight it. You can either accept it or fight it. And most often, things like that happen because of greed. Somebody's profiting from this. We see it all over this country. And the people just decide to fight back. Mostly because it's morally wrong. There's a right way to treat our environment if we want to live and share and experience it. And there's a wrong way. And, at some point you can either give into it and let it just flow and go to the wayside, or you can fight back and try and save it. And I'm fighting back. I'm going to my grave fighting back.
More than 16 feet right now. So this weekend, the Army Corps of Engineers is going to begin a massive release of water from the lake for the first time in months.
The plan is to release up to 1 billion gallons a day east to the Treasure Coast before the wet season.
It's the lesser of two evils to do it now than do it later, but it's still an evil.
It's environmental genocide. We're losing what this place used to be, and it's all because of water quality.
Until we stop the water from coming here, 100% of the water from coming here, it's not coming back.
Hi, I'm Anita Bryant, and this is my husband, Bob Green, and we'd like to take you to a very special place.
I grew up in Jupiter. The earliest that I remember is in the early 60s. And Jupiter back then was only 1,800 people. There's over 80,000 now, so it was quite a different world. I've experienced almost every fishery that is here, and because of that, I've seen most of those fisheries either disappear or be greatly diminished. Most of them are a fraction of what they used to be.
I started guiding in 1986, and it was just an amazing place. The Indian River itself, we're on the southern end of the Indian River, was just these massive seagrass meadows, and full of bait, just full of life. The number of fish that you could catch on a charter, it really made it pretty simple to do.
Ironically, where I grew up and did most of my fishing was the Lake Worth Spillway, another discharge area where water was spilling out. But this was way, way early on. We're talking in the 80s and 90s.
The one thing I think that a lot of people have a hard time grasping is what it was like, what I saw. I saw it at its best. That's one reason why I don't participate in a lot of fisheries like snook fishing, because I can remember what it was like and I just can't do it now. What we're looking at here is probably the most dramatic change I've seen in my lifetime. When I was growing up here, they were all oyster bars going perpendicular. We'd catch sheephead. It's a totally different environment now. What we have here now is all sandbars. Between the silt from the runoff choking the grass off and the sand from the beach restoration basically covering all the oyster bars and making these huge sandbars, the river's totally changed. It's not where I grew up.
And then as we started getting into the 90s, when we would have these discharges, we would start seeing a little pieces of the ecosystem disappear. And then around, I'm going to say 2011, we took a hit pretty bad, and I don't know what happened. In 1 year, we went from having diminishing seagrass to all our seagrass being completely gone.
Biologists say the flood of lake water has effectively killed off any new oysters that tried to grow there. The health department warning residents to stay out of the river due to dangerous bacteria.
Grass and oysters don't exist at all anymore in Jupiter. You don't see it. All there is just muck. We could sit back and complain about all the small things, whether it's the fishing pressure or regulations or whatever, but ultimately none of that would matter if the water quality was there.
This is a 100-year-old problem. This is something that started being changed in the early 1900s, when the Kissimmee River was straightened out, when the discharge water started going sideways as opposed to naturally through the Everglades. And if we're getting water discharges where you can't go swimming, where it's not safe to go swimming, it's going to have this ripple effect for a lot of different industries.
Now, you know, it's a very complicated problem, but we have a solution, and the solution is the comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan. The problem is it's not fully funded, it doesn't have the political support that it really needs. We know it's a long-term fix. I mean, to do all these projects is going to take time and take funding.
When it comes to decision making and law making and funding allocations, we the people, when united with a powerful voice, we have so much more impact than I think we expect.
Now, we've seen the most movement in that comprehensive Everglades Restoration Plan, the most projects completed in the last 5 or 6 years. And that's because of public sentiment, because the public's getting out there and wearing people down, because they're not accepting it. They're fighting back. And Captains has a big part of that. They're making the public aware, and they're calling people out. That's something people never did before. They stand their ground, they're fearless. That's what I love about Captains, they're fearless. They'll call you out.
It's really important to remember that literally everyone benefits from Everglades restoration. From top to bottom, east to west in the system, water is intended to flow south, not east and west. And when we can keep that end goal in mind, there's a lot more unity behind the different communities involved in this conversation, and the more unity, the better to getting such a big thing done.
I mean, nature is super resilient, so you know, that's why there's always hope. But people need to realize this is, you know, a 5, 10, 20-year program that needs to stay, you know, the fire needs to be lit underneath at all times.
And you know, it's not one big thing. It's a lot of little things together that make the change. And I think every little thing that we can do that's positive is going to make it better in the end.
I try to get people to fall in love with the sport of fishing. And when you fall in love with the sport of fishing, you're going to gravitate to conserving it. And you never know when you're going to hit that one right person that's just going to share it to everybody in the world.
It's only one Everglades. There'll never be another. There'll never be anything else on this planet remotely like the Everglades. If you've never been there, there's no describing the Everglades. If it's gone, there'll be no replacing the Everglades. This isn't just a Florida issue. The Everglades belongs to all of us around this nation. So please join together with those of us at the point of the spear. Captains for Clean Water is leading the charge. If you don't help them, we're bound to lose.